The Benny Hill Show, 1955, and 15 Weird Facts intro. When it comes to comedy that blended slapstick, satire, cheeky innuendos, and lightning-fast gags, The Benny Hill Show stands out as one of the most unforgettable television programs ever created. First broadcast in 1955, it went on to become a cultural phenomenon, influencing comedians across the world. Millions tuned in to laugh at the sight of men in silly costumes, glamorous women known as Hill's Angels, and the famous chase sequences set to the equally famous tune Yakety Sax. But behind the laughs lies a fascinating history filled with unusual facts, hidden stories, and strange twists that make the legacy of this show even more remarkable. Today, we're diving deep into 15 weird facts about The Benny Hill Show that will surprise even longtime fans. It began on the BBC in black and white. Most people remember Benny Hill's show for its colorful 70s and 80s episodes, but it actually began in the mid-1950s on the BBC, filmed entirely in black and white. The humor was lighter, closer to variety shows of the era, and only later evolved into the risque slapstick that became iconic. Few surviving tapes from these early broadcasts exist, making those episodes something of a lost treasure. Inspired by silent film comedians, Benny Hill was deeply influenced by silent-era comedy. He studied Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, and Laurel and Hardy, often recreating their exaggerated physical gags. The sped-up chase scenes weren't just a funny gimmick. They were his modern homage to silent film slapstick. This connection made the show a bridge between early cinema and modern TV comedy. The Yakety Sax theme almost didn't happen. The saxophone tune, Yakety Sax, composed by Boots Randolph, became inseparable from Benny Hill. However, it wasn't written for the show at all. Hill simply loved the playful chaos it added to his sketches and adopted it years into the series. Ironically, the tune is now so globally tied to Benny Hill that people often call it the Benny Hill theme, even though it belonged to someone else. Global reach beyond Britain. While the show gained huge popularity in the UK, its biggest surprise was its success abroad. American networks aired reruns, and by the late 1970s, The Benny Hill Show was reaching over 100 million viewers worldwide. For many American audiences, this was their first exposure to British comedy. Strangely, it became one of the few UK programs more popular abroad than at home. Benny Hill was a comedy perfectionist on screen. Benny looked like a silly clown, but behind the scenes he was a perfectionist. He could spend hours reworking a single sketch to get the timing just right. He demanded flawless choreography from his cast, and would spend late nights fine-tuning scripts. His obsession with timing explains why the slapstick never missed its beat. The show faced accusations of misogyny by the 1980s. Cultural attitudes were shifting. Feminist groups criticized the program for objectifying women, pointing to the Hill's Angels, the glamorous dancers often dressed in skimpy costumes. While some defended the show as harmless fun, others saw it as outdated and sexist. These accusations grew so strong that they contributed to the show's cancellation in 1989, despite still having high ratings. Fired by the BBC, rescued by Thames TV in 1968, the BBC suddenly dropped the show, declaring Benny's humor too old-fashioned. Thames Television quickly picked it up and gave Hill more freedom. Ironically, it was at Thames where The Benny Hill Show developed its racier, slapstick-heavy identity that made it a worldwide hit. The chase scenes were done on a shoestring, those legendary end-of-show chase sequences, where everyone dashed around at double speed, were filmed on tiny budgets. Often, Hill and his cast would shoot on random streets, parks, or studio backlots with little planning. Yet these improvised, Low-cost scenes became the most memorable part of the entire series. Charlie Chaplin. Secretly admired him. One of the most surprising facts is that Charlie Chaplin, Hill's idol, was a fan. Chaplin reportedly kept tapes of Benny's sketches in his Swiss home, and once invited Hill for a private visit. Imagine the world's greatest silent comedian enjoying the antics of Britain's cheekiest television clown. It was like comedy history coming full circle. Ratings that made history. At its height in the 1970s, The Benny Hill Show was pulling in more than 20 million UK viewers. Astonishing numbers for the time. In the United States, syndicated reruns often outranked major primetime shows. To this day, it remains one of the most successful British comedies ever exported. Benny Hill. Never married, despite being surrounded by glamorous women on screen, Benny Hill never tied the knot. He proposed a few times but was always rejected. Off-screen, he lived a quiet, frugal life, often dining alone on simple meals. It's a strange contrast. The man who entertained millions lived in near solitude. Hollywood wanted him, but he refused. Big film studios wanted to bring Benny Hill to Hollywood. He was offered cameo roles and even leading parts in films. Yet Hill turned down most opportunities, fearing he'd lose control over his comedy. One rare exception was his appearance in the 1969 James Bond parody, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, where he played a toy maker. Controversy killed his career. By the late 1980s, critics were calling the show sexist, outdated, and out of step with modern comedy. Thames Television eventually canceled it in 1989. The strange part? It was still pulling strong ratings. Benny's career ended not because audiences left him, but because TV executives bowed to cultural pressure. A legacy of love and hate. Few shows divide people as much as The Benny Hill Show. Fans remember it as a golden age of slapstick and harmless fun. Critics argue it was crude and offensive. The truth is probably somewhere in between. Regardless of where you stand, it undeniably changed the landscape of television comedy forever. Benny Hill's lonely and tragically. Benny Hill's personal life ended much like one of his sketches, quietly, without fanfare. In 1992, he died of heart problems at age 68, alone in his small flat. His body went undiscovered for days. Despite earning millions during his career, Hill lived modestly and died quietly, leaving behind one of the strangest legacies in comedy history. Outro. The Benny Hill Show was weird, outrageous, and unforgettable. It broke rules, entertained millions, and became a global symbol of slapstick comedy. But behind the laughter was a man whose private life was as unusual as the sketches he created. Today, the sped-up chases set to Yakety Sax remain instantly recognizable. Love it or hate it, there's no denying that Benny Hill left a lasting mark on television, comedy, and popular culture. His show may have ended decades ago, but the laughter and the controversy still echoes around the world.